Welcome back to this special holiday edition of Cattlemen to Cattlemen. We're here in the Beef It's What's for Dinner Culinary Center, and with me now is Chef Laura Hagen. Laura, tell us a little bit about what goes on in this center.
Sure. Well, first of all, welcome to the Beef It's What's for Dinner Culinary Center. This is where the culinary team weaves their magic. This is the consumer side of our kitchen. Yeah. So consumer side looks very similar, right, to home. I mean, obviously you wouldn't have 4 ranges probably in your home. Probably not. But this is what we do recipe testing on. Good. So most of the recipes that we do here in the kitchen are consumer recipes, yeah, and they will eventually end up on beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Yeah. So we have over 700 recipes up there, wow, now that we've worked on, and we're actually taking a look now at different recipes that we want to kind of put together going forward. So this is the testing area. The testers will come here and they will do a recipe from start to finish, and then they will get feedback. And then once the recipe is ready to go, it goes through an editing process. It goes through nutritionals, yep, which is a really important thing for us. Sure. And then it also goes into a photo shoot. So we get a professional photo, because people always eat with their eyes before they actually pick up their fork, right? I was going to say, there's some great shots on the Beef It's What's for Dinner website. Yeah, absolutely. We've been really proud of the photography that we've been doing lately. So this is the consumer side. This is where we do all of that type of work. And I was going to ask, I mean, it looks like this is what you'd find at home, but we also have something that looks a lot more like a restaurant to me over here. Tell me what you do, or why both sets, sure, of kitchen appliances. Absolutely. Here. So this would be kind of our commercial side of our kitchen. And this is where we do food production. So we are constantly showcasing beef to visitors, mm-hmm, to NCBA. And it's very important that we showcase beef in the best possible light. So all of these wonderful tools enable us to actually put out big meals of over 100 people, mm-hmm, small meals, but we can also even do food service recipe testing. So like I mentioned in the other kitchen, we do consumer testing. We can actually do food service testing and use the same equipment that restaurants use on a regular basis in the back of the house. So that's kind of where we have food production going on. There's always a lot of activity. And it's important for us to kind of have both sides so that we can talk to retailers, we can talk to consumers, and we can talk to food service operators. Let's talk about outcomes for a minute. You know, I've had the opportunity to taste some of your great food when I've been at meetings here and so forth. But tell our viewers, what are some of the results of all the efforts in this kitchen? Well, this is really about showcasing beef to all those different audiences, right? We want more beef on the menu at a restaurant. We want consumers to have success with beef. So certainly when we're doing recipe testing, it's really important that we learn how a consumer cooks, so that we can make sure that everything we put out there is easy for them to work on. And then when it comes to retail, we love to be able to offer recipes at the meat case, so that if someone goes and selects a certain cut of meat, they can then have a corresponding recipe to help them kind of have a successful experience. We've read a lot that particularly millennials would like to eat more beef, but they just don't know how to cook it. And so what you're doing is so critical to our beef demand efforts. Well, and I think you'll notice that just in general, education is super important right now. It's really important to let everybody know about the beef industry, as well as what we do here in the kitchen, and make sure that consumers have this transparent feel for what we do here, and understand that if they have questions, they can come to us and we can make sure that they have success. We're nearing the holidays. Mm-hmm. Do things get busy in this kitchen near the holidays as well? They get busy and then they slow down. Do they? All right. Which is kind of nice. Yeah. We do get a lot of calls around the holidays for people who want to have information on how to prepare or work with either a frozen roast or maybe a rib roast that they've just purchased. Right. We get also questions about people who don't want to invest in a rib roast and they want to have maybe an alternate cut. So we're able to offer those types of advice and make sure that people have a really good experience at the holiday season, because that's when you're stressed out and that's when you really want to know exactly what you're doing. Right. And so it's really important that we can give them educational tips and that type of thing to make sure that they do a great job. You may have already answered my question, but I was going to ask you, what is your favorite beef dish for the holidays? Well, I do like to do a roast, yeah, but I am more of a tenderloin girl. Oh. So I am more apt to go for the most tender muscle in the entire carcass. Yes. And I love to just roast it with a really lovely rub, and then usually some big mashed potatoes and some good veggies on the side as well. But tenderloins are my favorite. You can't go wrong. Beef, it's what's for dinner, holidays or any other day, right? Absolutely. And speaking of that, when we return, we have some great recipes to share with you. Stay with us.